Coming to limited theaters and on demand on May the 3rd, we have a new horror thriller film called New Life, and I want to thank the fine folks over at Brainstorm Media for sending this screener over to me and letting you guys know if this film was worth a watch. So what did I think about this film? Well, stick around. Let's talk about it. New Life is about a mysterious woman on the run and the resourceful fixer assigned to bring her in. Their two unique stories link as the stakes of the pursuit rise to apocalyptic proportions. Directed by first-time director John Rosman, the film stars Sonya Walger, Hayley Erin, Tony Amendola, and Ayanna Berkshire. Going into New Life, I honestly did not know anything about this film. I went into it very fresh. I didn't read the synopsis. All I knew is that it was a horror film, and I didn't look up a trailer going into this, so I went into it pretty blind. And what I can actually say positive about this film is I like the fact that this film is only 78 minutes. It's a very easy watch, and it's one of those films that it just kind of gradually builds as time goes on. It gives you plenty enough of a story. It has two characters here. You have one woman who is working for this agency that has to track down this woman named Jessica, and she is on the run, and apparently she is wanted for murder. And you have this woman played by Elsa who has ALS, who is to track her down and bring her in for justice. Now this film, I didn't really know exactly where this film was actually going to go. In the first 40 minutes, it really doesn't have any horror moments. It feels like kind of a mystery thriller aspect to it, and then when it gets to about the 45-minute mark, it really turns on the horror. And as the film goes along, it really shows its very good practical effects. It's moments where it really reminded me of a film like the Crazies, throw in the Contagion film. It definitely has a lot of those different characteristics to it, and I really like the mix of genres with the film overall. The acting is done pretty well here. You have Tony Amendola, who is in the Annabelle films, and I really do like him as a character here, and what he is actually doing of using this woman named Elsa to track down this girl. The girl is trying to cross the border, and there is a reasoning as to why they don't want the girl actually crossing the border, in which I will not reveal because that will completely ruin the film, and I want you guys to have this spoiler free going into it. Now, there is a lot of flashbacks in this film. There's a lot of things and clues that they leave to let you ponder a little bit, but they do actually explain them. They do go into some flashbacks as to why certain characters are in the predicament that they're in, and later on in the film too, they really tie it all together in a nice bow. This film, I love the fact that it is one of those films that even though it is very gradual and it's a short runtime, I think that it gives you enough context to really get the gist of everything that is really going on. And I never felt that I was very bored through this film. I felt like I was very intrigued throughout the entire film. The music itself was fine. I didn't really feel like, everything didn't really mesh well or nothing really made sense. There were a few little things that, sure, they could have really fleshed out a little bit more. Maybe if they had more budget, they could have really had that. But I just felt like it was a very tight-knit story, and for a directorial debut, I thought he did a very good job, specifically just in the way that he told the story as a whole and kept you intrigued to really everything that was really going on, and really kept you guessing at certain points in the film, while also kind of having some callbacks to other films that I mentioned previously in this review. I think he just does a really good job of really organizing everything together. It was really directed well, edited well, and just made in a way to tell a story where you really just kind of feel for both our characters here. And the way that it really unravels towards the end of the film, I was just like, I really do like this film, and I definitely had a good time watching this film. And it definitely was one of those films too where you can kind of get a lot of different things from it and pick up on certain things as well. So as far as the score for this film, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. I had a really good time with this. I think the runtime is very sufficient for what the actual details entail here. Could they have gone a little bit more into certain things? Sure, but I think overall for what they had to work with and certain little scenes that they really did throughout this film, I think they did a pretty good job, and I have to say props to a first-time director here. He did a very good job. I want to hear from you guys though. What did you guys think about this film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just kind of meh? And if you haven't checked it out, are you going to check it out when it comes to on demand? did I sell you on checking this film out? I definitely recommend it if you like the Crazies, Contagion, if you like kinds of films that kind of mesh certain genres together. I will say that there is certain little parts that can be kind of scary if you don't really like scary movies, a little bit of blood here and there, but I don't think it's one of those films where it's looking to spook you or jump scares. It's definitely not that kind of film, but I think overall though, as a film, it definitely can make you think of certain little things that really goes on within the government and little nuances that really kind of tie into certain things that we have dealt with as a whole back in 2020, if you know what I'm talking about. But that is my thoughts for this film. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.